So we're going to continue on in our exploring of fabric today. We left off with creating a fabric lake house. Now today we're going to show you how you can use the SQL engine to access the data inside of Fabric. Is that right, Marcus?
Sure is, Chris. Excited to share.
Awesome. Well, let's head over to your desktop and show us how this works.
Sure thing. So here I have the Fabric home screen, and I'm going to navigate to the Power BI section here. I'm going to go to my workspace and click the automatically generated SQL endpoint for my demo lakehouse that's created.
So just to reiterate, you didn't have to do anything to create the SQL endpoint. When you created the lakehouse, this was automatically created for you. Is that correct?
That's correct, Chris. No extra coding, no extra process. As soon as my lakehouse is generated, the SQL endpoint comes right with it.
That's awesome. And the data that's in your lakehouse that you loaded is the exact same data here. You didn't have to copy and load it? It's the exact same Delta files, correct?
Same files. Didn't need to reload. They're still there from the original lakehouse creation.
Fantastic. So when we created a lakehouse, we were using Python. Or actually, we're just using clicks. We could have used Python, but we're just using clicks to create that. Now we're going to see how we can write a query in here.
Yep, we're going to get right over to the SQL screen here. So I'm going to click New SQL Query at the top. And there's a couple of pre-generated queries to save some time here. So I'm going to bring one over and we'll be able to run that right away. So in this one, we're just going to sum up the revenue by sales rep for the year 2022, and we're going to order it by sales rep name. I'm going to go ahead.
That is fantastic. Hang on. Can we just take a second before you do that and talk about the parts of this SQL statement? Because if you're not aware with how SQL works, we've got some main parts here. I always talk about select from where, right? And you can see that inside your select statement. You want to walk us through your select statement here?
Sure thing. So as Chris mentioned, you're going to start with a select, and you're going to define the columns that you want brought back in your query. So here I have my attribute that I want to slice by, which is sales rep name. And then here is my aggregate. I'm summing up my revenue total. And the tables I needed to do this are going to come in my from statement below. So I'm going to pull from sales. I'm going to join that to sales rep on my sales rep ID columns. And then I'm going to also join my date table so that I can leverage the year attribute in my where filter down below.
Awesome. Now, these are some kind of new clauses underneath there that you have to use when you're doing an aggregate. You want to explain how and why we use these?
Sure, Chris. Just like you mentioned, when you're defining an aggregate in your select statement, you need to group by the other columns that are not being aggregated. So in this case, we have one other column that's being represented that's not an aggregate, and that's sales rep name or sales rep here. So we're going to group by the original column name.
Okay.
And then below, I'm going to do an order by statement so that it sorts my query results in the fashion that I'd like. So in this case, I'm just going to sort it by sales rep name. And you can use the alias in the order by clause, whereas in the group by clause, you need to use the original column name.
Oh, and so the as sales rep in your select statement, that's called an alias?
Exactly right. So when we're thinking about forming queries for business-friendly consumption, typically you want to use an alias because the column names in your lakehouse or data warehouse may not be formatted for necessarily business-friendly consumption or business-friendly usernames there. So you typically want to use an alias to format those so that when we get to creating reports, users spend less time formatting column names in their visuals and they can just drag and drop.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. All right, enough on this. This seems pretty straightforward. How do I run it? How long does it take? Is this going to be an hour? Do we have to pause and come back? What's this going to be like?
I don't want to give any guarantees, but I don't think we're going to be anywhere near an hour here. I'm going to guess probably seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and just click run here at the top, and wow, 1 second of runtime, and you can see here we have that total revenue by sales rep.
Wow, that's incredible. So last video we showed how to create a lake house. This video we're running a SQL statement in it, and SQL's super powerful because it's been around for 50 years. So there are millions of people who know how to work with SQL statements. So it basically means that by creating a lake house, you're creating an environment for almost anyone who works with data to be able to access it and understand what's in there. Is that right, Marcus?
Exactly right. A very common tool set in the IT environment. So yeah, very easy to get up and running with your SQL endpoint on top of your lakehouse.
Oh, this is fantastic. All right. Well, Marcus, thank you so much for showing us how you can use the lakehouse to create a SQL statement, the components inside of a SQL statement. Next, we're going to be going in our next video, we're going to be going deeper into different types of SQL statements. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're going to get a little bit more advanced with the SQL statements and show you just how much functionality is there out of the box with Fabric.
Oh, I can't wait. Thank you so much, Marcus, and thank you for tuning in today and watching the video. We'll see you guys next time.